01. This meeting of the Finance Committee for November 18th, 2025 is hereby called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman at Large Keith Larson.
Here.
Alderman Tamburero.
Here.
Alderman Edward J. Bugg.
Here.
Vice Chair Carl Franco.
Here.
And Chairman Masiacos is present.
Thank you. Alderman Bugg requests permission to participate remotely per Section 2-80 based on a reasonable anticipation of an extended illness. Is there a motion to authorize Alderman Bugg to participate remotely?
Second. Second.
I have a motion by Alderman Tamburero, second by Alderman Keith Larson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Alderman Bugg, welcome officially to this meeting.
Thank you.
Clerk, do we have members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
No, we do not.
All right, well then, clerk, we can begin this agenda by reading the first item on the agenda. Is it customary, it's been a while, to read one at a time, these SSAs?
I know in the past, Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer, I know in the past that we have read them all together and then voted, I know the Finance Committee has voted on all of them as a group.
Alderman Franco, do you mind chiming in on this?
I think we've done it both ways, but I think the first time I did it, we did it separate, and then we morphed into that. So I think either way works, whatever is
Okay.
acceptable to everybody else is fine.
So do we read all of them down
Yeah,
the
read
road?
all of them
All
at
right.
this at one time.
If,
yeah.
if there's no direct objection by the committee, Alderman Bugg, are you okay with that? And then we
Yeah,
can,
I'm fine with it. Well, of course, we'll have discussion, but.
yes,
yeah, I'm fine with
absolutely. All right, so clerk, could you please read all the SSAs?
25-0864, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 1. 25-0865, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 44. 25-0867, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 66A. 25-0868, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 66B. 25-0869, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 66C. 25-0870, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 66D. 25-0872, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 67. And 25-0873, an ordinance levying certain special service area taxes for the fiscal year January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, special service area number 24.
Thank you, clerk.
So moved. Second.
Okay, discussion here, a presentation of any kind by staff. Anything you want to share, Ms. Peterson?
Stacy Peterson, Chief Financial Officer. What you have in front of you is several of the SSAs that we have. I will note that the SSA 90 will be on the 20th. So currently we have 9 active SSAs, and these are primarily for various projects that were done throughout the city. So we have the SSA 63, which is for the near west side, and you'll note on the schedule that is attached that that one is completed, and then also SSA 65 was completed, and SSA 66A is for Foreign Lane, New Haven. That's going to increase by $100. The 66B West Side Foreign Lane is going to increase by $50, and then SSA 66C for North Foreign Lane is going to go up $100. 66D is for Northeast Foreign Lane is going to go up $5. And what you also note on this schedule is again, SSA 90 was actually expired at the beginning of the year on January 14th. We had to extend it, and that's that difference there. So I'll open it up to any questions if you have any.
A little bit, just clarity. You mentioned that there's more SSAs forthcoming on the 20th?
Just one, the
Just one.
SSA 90.
Okay, and the reason why it's not on here?
Timing to get them on the agenda.
Okay, all right. And when we vote for an SSA that's has a zero balance, is that going to disappear off the list?
It's actually, this summary is just a summary for your information of what was last year versus this year. You are only voting on the next year's current SSA. So you're not voting on ones that have been completed. This is just a schedule that, for
Okay.
your information.
Okay, because we're going to be voting on these, so what are we both voting on?
You're going to be voting on SSA 1, SSA 44, SSA 66A, B, C, D, and 67, and 24.
Not 90A?
90 will be on the 20th. The same schedule is attached to each of the SSAs,
Okay.
just as a reference.
So, because we have a motion here to read all of them in a group. And it passed, so now we also have a motion to approve and a second, but it's not to approve all of them.
Just the ones that are on today's agenda.
Okay, all right, okay. Because I'm following the list on your summary sheet.
Yeah, it's just the ones that are on the agenda. The
Okay,
SSA 90 will be on the agenda for Thursday.
okay, all right. With that said, I will start with any questions. Alderman Keith Larson.
I don't think I have any questions. I guess one thing that I'm thinking of, it might be a question for the 20th regarding SSA 90. Since it shows the 2024 levy was 0 and it'll be going up to 6313, is that in line with what it was before it was extended? And if you don't have the answer now, you can give it to me on Thursday when we're actually going to.
It is in line with the same amount.
Okay, that's all.
I had one question.
Alderman Burrow.
Chairman, thank you. My question is regarding 0864 SSA number 1. So with respect to the dollar amount, how is that dollar amount arrived at? Is it a different amount every year? Is there a request for more or less? How does that, can you explain that?
The 350,000?
Yeah, how is that, how do we establish that? Is that something we just always done that, or does it change? Can it change?
The maximum rate is 1% for that SSA. And back in tax levy year 2022 payable in 2023, we SSA 1 terminated, so then we ballooned the SSA 1 to incorporate the TIF dollars that are now coming onto the tax rolls.
Alderman, this is Brian Caputo, Director of Operations Management. One piece that you might be interested in noting is that as Stacy mentioned, it does top out at that 1%, so we tend to levy higher because the SSA traditionally has wanted as much as that 1% will generate. So I think we'd probably find that we won't get the full amount that's there, but we're trying to get as much as possible for the SSA.
Yeah, and just as a
That
reference.
makes sense, yeah.
And as a reference too, for what we received in 2024 for that tax levy was $329,504. Yeah.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. Doesn't seem Alderman Franco has any questions. No, Alderman Bug.
Yeah, thank you. Stacy, if we could, I want to take a quick deep dive into SSA 24. We discussed this last year. We had hoped to be further along with this. However, Eagle Point doesn't have any members on their HOA board, so they need to elect some members so we can move forward. How do, kind of in line with just Alderman Barrero just asked, how do we decide if a number is going to go up? So they're going to need to replace a fence that is 1/3 of a mile long. It is going to be very expensive. I understand their balance is not even $100,000. So if we put another 40,000 in to have 140,000, it's not going to be anywhere near the amount that we're going to be looking at spending here in the next couple years. So what is the determination on increasing that number, and then we can go from there?
Okay. This particular SSA has a maximum rate of 0.2%. Right now, we levy the 40,000 a year. If the homeowners association would like to increase the amount, we would have to get a request from the homeowners association. We could, if it stays within, again, if we hit the maximum rate, if we levy, let's say, for example, if you wanted to levy 80,000, based on the equalized assessed valuation, you wouldn't get the full 80,000. We would potentially probably have to amend the SSA if that rate would need to be changed. But we can actually
So-
levy up to the max that's on the SSA.
Okay. So you said 0.2%?
0.2%, yes. And just as a reference for fiscal year, I have on my schedule here is 2022 payable, 2023 payable, and 2024, the rate was 0.1202. We have historically, looking at the inception of this, it's been around 1.2 all the way up to 1.7. And that, again, is also based on the equalized assessed valuation of all the properties within the SSA.
Right, okay. So for our purposes, like I said, unfortunately, they don't have any board members. I'm dealing with their project management office to have them elect some board members so they can make decisions. I mean, of course, the flip side of this, and maybe we could do it midterm next year, if we don't do this, and really I as an alderman just turn this over to property standards, that HOA is just going to receive fines for the, the status of the fence is basically falling down. It's in complete disrepair and needs to be replaced. So I'm trying to aid them in this. So Offline, if you could point me back toward their total number, their total balance. Not during this meeting, I won't take up the time. And then, like I said, we can't take any action, and we can't ask the board to take any action because they aren't any board members. But once that board comes online, possibly we could do something as an amendment at some point.
Okay, we'll get that information for you.
All right, thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Peterson? No? Okay. Anything further from committee? No? Well, since there's no more discussion to be had on these items, they've been all approved for a motion to vote. I will ask the committee, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Bug? Alderman Bug?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion passed 5-0. Ms. Okay. Motions, yes, I stand corrected. Thank you. Motions, plural. On these resolutions. Okay, clerk, could you please read the last item on today's agenda?
25-0818, review of the capital and CIP.
Good afternoon, Jason Bauer with the Department of Public Works, here to give a brief overview of some of the projects that we completed in 2025 and some of the proposed capital improvements for 2026. So some of the highlights, this was a project that we started in 2024 and finally finished it this year, the improvements of Indian Trail from Mitchell to Church. This had grant funding in it. We got some highway safety improvement funds to accommodate bicycle accommodations and a new signal. Another section of Indian Trail is the signal modernization and resurfacing. So the resurfacing will be done this year, but the signal modernization might run into next year. And this section included working with BNSF to address the rough crossing over by Fire Station 3 on Indian Trail right near Highland. So we were happy that that was able to get done working with them. New traffic signal installation at McCoy in Cheshire. So not too much to see on the picture there, pretty self-explanatory, but definitely a much needed improvement. We also did get a number of roadways resurfaced at 80 cents federal funding, 20 cents city funding. So all those projects that we come forward through when Tim Widener is up here and he's got all the various agreements, this would be those types of projects. So we're fortunate that we've got a number of these roadways that are eligible for that funding because at the end of the day, it helps save our resurfacing funds to use on the local roadways while maximizing the federal contribution towards those eligible roads. And another type of project we have, so this is a little bit more in depth than a resurfacing project, so we call it a 3R. So on a project of this nature, so this is Indian Trail, Highland going east to 31, we were able to add curb and gutter in sections that it wasn't present. We were able to do a little bit of widening, and we were able to add storm sewer. So really great improvement up there, and again, those projects are 80% federally funded. Another one that's underway, we've gotten most of the widening done on this project. So this is Farnsworth near the intersection of Bilter and Bilter extending west to Church. So we got the widening completed. Most of the underground is completed. There will still be some work with signals and final surface going on into 2026. The goal there being to get those improvements done before the casino opens so that we can address any additional traffic. Also, we're glad that we were able to get the bulk of the widening done because now we've got extra pavement up there. So we've already been working with APD to make sure that everything is all set with the new layouts for Black Friday, as that's coming up here pretty quickly. So those meetings have been ongoing, and all these extra lanes and widening will definitely be helpful to help APD coordinate and make that function even better than it did before. So quite a number of underground improvements in 2025, about 3 miles of water main. We also had some water main loops down in the southeast side that are going to increase the water capacity. We did about 630 lead service lines, so we were very happy with that. We were able to capitalize on some federal funding that came to us, 100% forgivable through the state's revolving loan fund program, and we'll be doing that again next year too. We were able to line about 2 miles of sanitary sewer, and that's all based on the televising that we do in advance of the resurfacing. And we did 3 sewer separation projects to help with our compliance with the long-term control plan. Another big one for the Public Works Department was the completion and grand opening of the new combined maintenance facility. So all the divisions have moved over with the exception of fleet, and they are in the process of doing that now. So the fuel station is supposed to be coming online here shortly. So before the end of the year, everyone that was slated to be in the building will be there. The 2025 streetscape program, last year we were able to do the intersection of Water and Benton, where we put brick at the corners. We highlighted the crosswalks. There's brick crosswalks, and we're doing the same thing this year on Stolp. That project is underway. That's the picture on the bottom. You can see them working, and that project will be done here within the next week or so. That was a very critical one for us because not only did it not meet the downtown standards in terms of what streetscape elements need to be there, but we actually had received some complaints about ADA compliance. The cross slope on that sidewalk was as high as 8% in some areas, so about 4 times what we'd be looking for. So definitely was one that we were glad to take care of this year. As far as some other work in the downtown area, the new greenhouse is nearing completion. That's located at Middle Avenue, and we were able to install irrigation at some more of the rain gardens. The more of the downtown beds that we have that have irrigation running to them, it's a more efficient way to water. We can water when people aren't there, and we don't need to send staff out. So very good that those people can be working on other things. And we also did the overlay of the lot at the intersection of River and Benton. So this would be the one that's adjacent to LTO, north of LTO. Streetlight maintenance, so about 550 streetlights repaired this year, and about 80 poles were replaced, and we'll be continuing that into 2026 as well. Water production, new well 105 will be coming online in 2026, but the bulk of the work was done this year. There's a lot of piping and drilling that goes along with those, but by sometime in 2026 that will come online. This is the well 105 is the one that's located near the fire station at Orchard in Illinois. And also the new river intake access drive, which is a critical one that's been in the CIP for as long as I can remember, and we're finally able to make some movement. We acquired some property, and we were able to extend the driveway access from Indian Trail down to the site, so now we can safely get those large vehicles in that are making deliveries on the west side of the river. Some other projects underway, the 3 fire stations. So Station 13, that one's supposed to be coming online here at the end of the year, and then Station 4 and Station 9 would be into 2026. But there's some progress photos there. And going into some of the additional proposed projects for 2026, big one on the list that we were also fortunate to get some grant funding for, $4 million towards the dredging of Mastodon Lake. And it's more than just dredging, it's going to be shoreline restoration, and also there will be other improvements that we do at the lake so that we can actually improve the circulation and hopefully not have the same issues with the stagnant water that we've been experiencing. So we're getting ready to put that out to bid, and hopefully we can have that contractor underway and start that work in the spring. Garfield Park, so this is one of our legacy parks in Ward 1. It's about 9 acres. We were fortunate to get a $600,000 grant for 2025, and we'll be rolling that into 2026 with matching funds. It's a 50-50. It's a maximum grant of $600,000 and a required matching contribution from the city. So we will be looking to do the first part of those improvements. The master plan that you can see there on the left shows that we'd be looking to do volleyball courts, basketball courts, pavilion. There's I believe, playground equipment, splash pad. So there's a number of elements, and we're going to be working closely with the nearby residents to make sure as we phase this project that the park can be used at least portions of the park can be used while the improvements are ongoing, and we want to make sure we prioritize things in a way that makes the most sense and gets the most use right away. So of course, another big one every year is our annual resurfacing program. So the resurfacing has a number of different funding sources. They're all listed out there. The one that says right-of-way improvement, that's what funds our Contract 2. So Contract 2 is the miscellaneous patching and striping and sidewalk trip hazards. So a total of $11.3 million, which is about the same as it's been the past few years. It's gone slightly up here and there over the last few years by maybe 500,000 or so. And next year we're targeting about 35 lane miles to be resurfaced. And that's in addition to all of the federal resurfacing lane miles. Another key one, it's not really a city-led project, but it is in our capital improvement plan because we are contributing towards the construction, is the North Aurora underpass, that railroad. The roadway is going to be widened at the railroad. They're working on pump stations right now, so that work is underway. We're anticipating about 2 years of construction. There will be some detours involved, and that one we hope to be done in 2028. Additional signal projects, Indian Trail from Ohio State to Pennsbury Lane. So this is going to include the modernization of traffic signals and then re-optimizing. There'll also be resurfacing of any of the portions within those limits that hasn't recently been redone in the last number of years. We've been going through Indian Trail here most recently. Sullivan Road, this one is a widening project, so it'll be a complete reconstruction. There'll be signal improvements and turn lane additions at Randall. And again, we were lucky to get federal funding. This is in that STP program as well at 80/20. Edgelon Drive, so this is the extension of a bike path over the railroad. So we're working with BNSF on that one now, and that's a 90% contribution due to the safety impacts. Our safe routes to school, so this is everything that we've currently been awarded. We are working on those design projects right now and hope to have those construction projects done next year. We were in 3 of the school districts. I think this year we applied in 4 different school districts. So this is, again, this is from the previous submittal, but finally moving to construction. New traffic signal next year at Montgomery and Couts. And as I mentioned, in addition to our annual neighborhood resurfacing program, we do have quite a few federally funded resurfacing projects next year spread all throughout the city. Those projects are all either in the process of being let or they'll be let early next year. So we're hoping that all of these would be complete by the end of 2026. And there's projects so these projects are other Fed projects that we have that are in process that we don't think are going to be on any letting until construction for 2027. But again, others that are in process, all funded at 80/20. One interesting one there that I believe just came through council or is working its way through is we're working with the Village of Montgomery for the Douglas Avenue resurfacing so that it's not 2 different contractors and 2 different time frames. It'll be done much more efficiently working together with them to resurface all of that jointly. Montgomery and Hill Avenue intersection, this one's been on the radar for quite some time. It's a very large project. It's well needed. There's going to be additions of through lanes and turn lanes, and that project will finish engineering this year. That's the bulk of the CIP for 2026, and then going to construction with if we're letting it in September of 26, some things might start over the winter, such as utility relocations, but then the bulk of the work would really get started in 2027. New York Street Bridge, again, this one is in the CIP for ongoing engineering. We're still working towards all of our IDOT approvals, which we plan to do through 26 and into 27, with then targeting a 2028 construction. Montgomery Road multi-use path, we've secured some funding up to 90% for that project. Again, this in 2026, the bulk is going to just be moving forward with design engineering with construction in 2027. And then a number of other federal projects that are ongoing that have some amount of engineering, whether it's phase 1 or phase 2. So phase 1 engineering, we generally consider that to be basically the studies where you're looking at the amount of traffic, what kind of lane configurations make sense. And then phase 2 is when we actually take all the results from the approved phase 1 and then start working on the plans and specifications and get it ready to go out to bid. So we do have a number of projects that are in either phase 1 or phase 2 that would be constructed in future years. New York Street and Farnsworth intersection improvements. So this one got a highway safety improvement grant. So there will be pedestrian accommodations and signal modernization. The New York and Galena two-way conversion, we're going to continue working on the engineering in 2026 and the permitting process with IDOT. There's a number of IDOT signals that are involved between Broadway, along Broadway and along Route 31. I think in all there's 6 different signals that are a part of this, so there's some significant IDOT coordination required. So we're hoping to have all that done in 26 so that we can get that out to bid in 2027 with the ultimate goal of having those 2 roadways both functioning as two-way roadways prior to working on the New York Street Bridge in 2028. Built-to Road Highway Safety Improvement Program improvements. So again, we got a 90-10 match grant, 90% going through the Highway Safety Improvement Program. And this is an area, if you're familiar, just west of DuPage Parkway. There's some reverse curves there. There's been some concern in the area, so we're planning on starting that phase 1 engineering next year to again go through and see what improvements we can make that would help alleviate any issues there, additional signage, additional lighting. We're looking at some higher friction surface treatments to help keep the cars on the road, and then just additional signage, radar feedback signs, a number of things. So we're going to look at all of that in a detailed phase 1. 2 other areas that we've been looking at for improvements for quite some time, in the last couple of years anyway, some bike path improvements on Eola Road and Ogden Avenue. So we've received a number of complaints over the years that these 2 areas aren't really accessible very easily for students in the area, for bicyclists. So we want to get started on phase 1 studies for both of those to nail down exactly what that construction cost would be. And also in some cases, depending on what grants you go for, if you have a completed phase 1 or phase 1 is underway, you can either be eligible for those grants or your grants rank higher. So we want to start studying these 2 areas, as we do know that there's a lack of improvements there, specifically along Route 34. The state is never going to be installing anything there, so that one will fall on our responsibility because it's within our limits, even though it's not our roadway. And then the same with Eola, that's our roadway and it's within our limits. So we're going to look at those 2 improvements. From a utility standpoint, we're going to continue along with the long-term control plan improvements with some sewer separation on the southeast side. We're going to look at water main improvements. That $6 million, again, is going to get us another roughly 3 to 4 miles of water main, depending on the size and how difficult the construction is. We are going to be replacing lead service lines again next year with $5 million of dedicated city funds, and also, I believe, about $2.5 million coming back to us from the EPA. And sanitary sewer rehabilitation, as always. We're going to take a look at all the roads that are a part of the overlay and make sure that we're either lining or doing spot repairs before we make the investment of resurfacing those roadways. Newer one for this year is some improvements at the combined sewer overflow treatment plant. This is the building that's just north of River Edge Park. That's actually a storage and treatment facility. So when we have storms that overwhelm the combined sewer, the excess roadway drainage and actually combined sewer drainage can go into this building. We can hold it for a certain amount of time, and then we can slowly release it back into the sewer. It's old. It has had very little work done to it since it was originally constructed. So we know of at least a number of electrical improvements that need to be done, but also we're just going to take a look at the facility on a whole and see if there's any other work that needs to occur. So there will be some design work and some construction in 26. And then last year, we worked on the Clark and White Eagle lift stations, and those were rehabilitated. And in 26, we're going to look to replace those generators. That's an ongoing CIP. We've got a number of lift stations, and keeping lift stations in operating condition, that's definitely something that you want to be proactive on rather than reactive due to the amount of damage that can occur when a lift station fails. So we're being proactive on the remaining lift stations after we address these generators. As far as water production goes, they are upsizing one of the pumps for the high pressure zone, and one of the water elevated tanks is going to be rehabilitated. So we're going to be stripping down the Church Road tank and repainting it, both inside and out. Some of the fleet and facilities highlights: the Aurora Police Department is going to continue with their CAD and RMS system updates. Transit, we're going to be resurfacing the ATC main lot. So there's $200,000 budgeted in 26, but there is a carryover coming from 25. So that's why that number might seem a little small for the size of that lot. And then we're going to get started on the deck repairs. We have had studies done to determine, we've had some studies done to determine the work that needs to be done at all the various parking facilities that we have downtown. And we want to make sure we stay ahead of those. There are some repairs that are getting to a point where we need to address them now. And then at the airport, they are working towards redoing the snow removal equipment building and some airfield lighting. And both of those projects have a significant contribution from both the federal and state governments. And then some of the other items that were highlighted in the CIP, there are some IT projects. The fiber projects, that's an ongoing CIP for both extending fiber, repairing fiber, relocating fiber if and when there's a project that requires it to be relocated, usually a roadway project or something along those lines. And then security monetization, we still have to upgrade a number of our facilities to the new card readers, outdated cameras, areas that have no camera security at all. So that would be an ongoing one for the security monetization. And again, this was just a high level. I know there's a number of other projects in the CIP, but these were some of the ones we wanted to highlight, but certainly more than willing to answer any questions that we can.
Okay, I'm going to start back here on my left. Alderman Keith Larson, any questions?
Thank you. Yeah, I do have a couple of questions. Let's see, the first one, hopefully I'm not stealing this one from Alderman Franco. It's on page 1019, project number GB 128, the Orchard Road noise barrier. Just reading through the description, it mentions the funding sources such as the SSA. I was under the impression that the SSA is no longer going to be used. Is that the case? And is that just something that needs to be deleted from the description?
Yeah, as of right now, there is no SSA. Nothing's been established, and that is the directive that we have been given most recently. So that's probably just a carryover from when we originally started developing the CIPs, but that is my understanding.
Okay, cool. Thank you. The next one, just a couple of pages forward, page 1021, project number GB 136. This is the one that you mentioned regarding the bike path crossing at the Gilman Trail at Edgelawn. Is this something that the Fox Valley Park District is involved in at all, since I believe the Gilman Trail is something that they own?
Yeah, there's no contribution from them. The biggest contribution, again, is going to be because it's in the Fed program, but since where it's crossing is in our right-of-way, I mean, a lot of those trails, we've got some responsibility for as well.
Crossing over the road.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see, the next one. Going ahead to page 1034, project number GB 175. This is just general roadway safety improvements. Are there particular roads that are going to be focuses in 2026?
The
Top priorities?
initial consideration was to have funding available so that we could work either in conjunction with the state or on our own for work along 56. There's been a lot of talk about possible signals. We've continued to look at different warrants, and we've, even as most recent as this year, we weren't able to meet those warrants, but that was kind of the thought process of establishing something like this, is that if throughout the year opportunities arise for us to start moving on something, that there's funding set aside for those things. So we're still going to look at those areas, and there is some movement as far as the state's concerned with moving forward either with a project on their own or with us.
Okay, good. And that's the like Savannah and Ginger Woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and then one more question. At the very end, page 1068, project number IC080, the lead water surface line replacement. Just looking ahead to the future years, it looks like every year is set for $5 million. Is this something that we should expect to increase each year with inflation, I would assume?
Yeah. So yeah, as shown, we probably should show some increase for inflation, but we're going to have to take a look at that prior to the 2027 budget anyways, because there is still movement on the federal level that might require this number to jump up even more significantly than just 3 or 4%.